Wow. I mean, well, first I guess you should thank everyone for making it here for round two. When I envisioned Greg's second wedding, I didn't know the bride was going to be the same. But no, we're glad she is. I think the worst part about that hurricane totally ruined my speech. I went over it last week and I realized that half my jokes were already outdated. I actually sat down and was going to rewrite it, but then quickly decided against it because, one, I'm too lazy, but mostly because it was hard enough to write one appropriate speech. There was no way I was going to write a second one. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to pretend like it's still August 27th. I mean, it's not that hard. Taylor still already has her dress. The rain is still, or snow is still pouring down, and Frank over there is still freaking out about the weather. Shouldn't be that difficult. But first of all, I want everyone to join me in thanking your parents, Mr. Poulos and Ms. Arties, for hosting such a wonderful reception. Give me a round of applause. And it's funny, just as I said that, I took a look at my mom, and I've never seen her so happy. Talking with her earlier, she's just so proud that finally, after 30 years, Greg's moving out of the house. She doesn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. anymore to iron his clothes, pack his lunchbox. He still has a He-Man one with the matching thermos. And make sure he's up in time so he's not late to work. And he's all nervous now. He's like, who's going to do that? But no, I'm sure Taylor will do an excellent job, right? No. I'll get luck with that. But no, honestly, it's about time he's finally moved out. I mean, who cares if they're homeless, right? We're not in the streets that hard, right? Ask those occupied people. But it's no surprise that the couple still hasn't found a house yet. Greg has some pretty specific demands. First of all, it has to be pretty close to a police station. That's so the cops respond quickly when he calls them from the neighborhood kids. He needs ample closet space because Greg has more clothes than any guy I've ever seen. And you couple that with Tara's coat bag. I don't know where to put all that stuff. But most importantly is the bathroom. If Tara spends half as much time in there as Greg, it's going to need to be the biggest room in the house. He spends hours in front of the mirror, tugging and pulling at his hair, only to mess it up and start over again. But, Tara said this last night. I can't make this stuff up. Tara said this last night. He had a practice session for his hair last night to make sure and after all that, it sounds good. It was completely different than every other day. But when Greg first asked me to be his best man, I think the first words that came out of my mouth were like, are you sure? Because you do know that means I get up in front of everyone at the reception and give a speech. They go, oh yeah, that's fine. I said, well, did you ask Tara first? Because she doesn't think I'm going to ruin like a whole wedding, right? I said, no, that's all right. So I said, all right, you know what, I'm going to do it. But you know, as the time went by and I gave it more thought, I couldn't think of anyone else who would be a better best man, or I guess best men for that matter, than Brian and I. Obviously we're Greg's brothers, but we've also known Tara for pretty much as long as I can remember. Might even be too long. She was a friend of the family before she started dating Greg, long before. And I was always younger than her, so some of the earlier memories might escape me. But what I do remember most is the phase that Karen and Nicole went through, where they thought it was absolutely hilarious to pick someone out and just let them know how embarrassed they were. And I know some of you know what I'm talking about, but for those lucky few out here who weren't on the receiving end of such a vicious insult, this is kind of how it went. It goes, oh, Caroline's embarrassed, right? And that's all it was. That was it. And I still tease her about it to this day because I still don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. But I think what sticks out in my mind most was this awkward infatuation that the two always had for each other. And although they will never admit to it, they weren't fooling anyone. Throughout Greg's high school and college years, he always had a thing for Tara, and he would always deny it. Even in the summer of 2005, we were down in Myrtle Beach, and I think this was the time their relationship first started. And we're on vacation, but every night Greg would spend hours on the phone with Tara. And even then, he was still trying to tell me that the two weren't dating. So, a couple months went by, and he finally broke the news, but it was no surprise to anyone, because I always knew those two were meant to be together. And, as the time went by, and their love grew stronger, they basically became inseparable, to the point where I couldn't imagine them not being together. I even stopped calling them Greg and Tara, and we referred to them as Greg R. I don't know if Tara knew about that nickname, but I guess she does now. But as I stand up here, 6 years later, I'm excited to say that there's no one else I'd rather welcome into our family than Tara, someone who's practically been family all these years. And I know I joked about this earlier with my mom, but when I look at Greg now, I can honestly say I haven't seen him happier, even after me just making fun of him for the last 5 minutes. And I know that's true for Tara. So I don't know how this is going to work, because I know he's going to speak after me, but I guess we can drink half of what we have now. So please join me by raising your glasses and celebrating Greg and Tara on just the beginning of a long and happy life together. And hopefully not a third wedding.